What's going on YouTube? It's Mike here. Today guys, in this video we're going to be doing a side-by-side comparison of the second generation Retina display iPad mini versus the iPad 2 non-Retina display. So here I have my two current tablets that I own, a little bit out of date here with the regular sized iPad. Here's the brand new Retina display iPad mini that I just got today in the mail. And here is the iPad 2 that does not have a Retina display that I got 2 years ago. And I figured in this video I'd kind of do a comparison. Now I know it's a weird bundle, you'd be thinking, oh well, why aren't you at least comparing the iPad Air? That's because Apple still offers the iPad 2 as an option to buy alongside the iPad Air, as well as the iPad mini with Retina display and the lower end iPad mini as well. Now I know last year around the iPad mini release date I also did a comparison versus the iPad mini versus the iPad 2. However, I decided to do it again this year because of the different processors, speeds, and stuff like that. There's just a much bigger difference, so in this video I figured I'd do it. So I think the first thing I want to talk about is the display. Obviously, it is two substantial different things here. On the Retina iPad mini, obviously it's a Retina display, and on the regular size we have a non-Retina display. So on the iPad mini you're going to be seeing less pixels. As a matter of fact, they're practically invisible to the human eye. On the iPad 2 they'll be a lot more noticeable. I'll show you what I mean. So right here are the bottoms of the iPad mini as well as the iPad 2. You could see that the icons are a bit different sized on the music one here. However, you could definitely tell that the music icon, the smaller version, which is the iPad mini with Retina display version, is a lot clearer than the one on the iPad 2. You can see it's a little bit more blurry, doesn't look just as good, and that's not because of size, that's because of the pixels that are actually visible to the human eye. Let's say we take a closer look at the top near the bezel. You can see that iPad on the iPad mini here is much clearer than we have on the regular size. You can see it's a lot more pixelated. Here are some of the default backgrounds that you could get in iOS. You can see the vibrance. You can see the difference is substantial. Like I said, if we look at the non-Retina, you can see it's a lot less clear. The edges just aren't as sharp. And then if we move over to the Retina, you see it's a lot more vibrant. Pixels just aren't as visible. Here's just one more close-up on the dock, just so you could see on the Retina display iPad mini. And here's a close-up on the dock of the iPad 2. You can see a very big difference. So obviously on the iPad mini the display is a lot better because it's Retina. Of course on the iPad 2 we don't have that. But enough about the display and all those pixels. Let's get into height, dimensions, and weight. So the iPad 2 comes in at 9.5 inches of the actual height and 7.31 inches width. The depth 0.34 of an inch and weighs 1.33 pounds. While on the other hand, the iPad mini with Retina display is 7.87 inches in height, 5.3 inches in width, 0.29 of an inch in depth, and just weighs 0.73 pounds. With the exception of the size of each tablet, there is quite a big difference between the two, considering they're within a tablet family. There's a very big difference. With the iPad mini on the right and the iPad 2 on the left, you can see the mini is just a little bit thinner than the iPad 2 itself, which is interesting considering the iPad mini with Retina display is so many generations ahead. And I mean, most of the ports, buttons, and stuff like that on both tablets are pretty much the same. If we go to the bottom, with our charging ports, obviously one is the 30-pin, the other is a lightning cable, our speakers on the bottom. We have our volume rockers and mute switch on the side, of course. Power buttons, microphones, and front-facing camera, as well as the headphone jack on the top. Rear-facing camera and some information about the device itself on the bottom. Rear-facing camera, a dual microphone, which is a new update to the iPad Air and the second generation iPad mini, Apple logo, and some important stuff. It's all pretty much the same standard we've always had. And one of the main things too is the front camera. If we have a look here on the iPad 2, you can see very low light quality VGA, not my favorite at all. Never looked good on here. But if we move to the iPad mini with Retina display, you could actually see me much better lighting. As a matter of fact, looks a lot better, a lot cleaner. The quality is much better. As you see, if I move my hand here, you can see it's a bit of a delay on the iPad 2. But if I move it here to the iPad mini, you can see it's very instant. So obviously the camera is a lot better on the iPad mini with Retina display than it would be on the iPad 2. This goes for the back cameras as well. Let's go ahead and do a speed test. First we're going to power off and power on each tablet. 3, 2, 1. Might be a little bit difficult for you guys to see the loading circles, but they're on there. I'll tell you which one goes off first. I think it's pretty obvious though. They're both going at about the same rate right now though. Okay, and the iPad mini with Retina display shut off just about a half a second before the iPad 2 did. So not a huge difference considering the iPad 2 is packing the A5 chip. You'd almost think that it would be a little bit better when, you know, the iPad mini is packing the A7 chip. You'd think it would be a little bit faster, but it's just about the same. So go ahead and boot them up at the same time in 3, 2, 1. You can see that we had an instant boot there. And then you can see the iPad mini 2 came in blazing fast, you know, just under 15 seconds, I believe. The iPad 2 seems to be glitching a little bit. Oh, there we go. So they're both on now. So one of the final tests I want to do is just a quick web page test, and we're going to actually open up my YouTube channel. Okay, so we're going to be loading up my YouTube channel in 3, 2, 1. These are both connected to the same Wi-Fi network. You could see we had the iPad mini with Retina display already done way before the iPad 2, but there it is, as you can see, all loaded up now. Not too shabby here. You know, obviously, it's good to see that the mini with Retina display came in a bit faster than the iPad 2, considering, again, that processor bump. They're both on 3 bars of Wi-Fi, high-speed internet, so I'm not surprised that the results, you know, they both came in at a decent time. So, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. If you liked it, please leave some comments below on your thoughts. Of course, right, give this video a thumbs up and click the subscribe button below. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.